Hill, Uphill. Your new memoir has been released. So we talked a little bit last time, and you mentioned that this wasn't your original plan, that you wanted to do another type of book, but your agent said that this would be the most fruitful for you. So now that it's been released and you're starting to get the feedback, what has that response been like to what you put out there, sort of your baby, so to speak?
It's been really overwhelming in a good way. I mean, because the reaction has been overwhelmingly positive, and a lot of people have taken great inspiration for it. They have felt more empowered to share their relatable stories, and so it's I won't say that it's rare, but it's special when something you write has the exact intended effect that you wanted it to.
So you were very open in a lot of aspects as far as your life and your career with this. So I wanted to start with something that I hadn't seen you sort of talk about. You mentioned that when you started embarked on your TV career, I think it's around maybe page 140 or so, how your ears weren't pierced at the time, you didn't know the makeup artist was asking you what type of look you want, and you were, can you talk a bit about how for a Black woman stepping into the media space, we're often judged even harsher than just what you would expect women to get judged from. Of course, women, there's always that superficial factor, but for a Black woman, it's even further. So could you walk me a bit through that process and how you evolved in that and became comfortable in the glam as well as staying rooted in who you are?
Well, it was an uncomfortable transition because I think, um, you know, uh, for me, I guess my tomboy roots they ran deep, and my ears have been pierced. They have been pierced before that moment, but I just had kind of let them close. Like I don't know what happened. Uh, I wasn't paying attention. I just didn't really wear earrings like that, and so. The truth that I had to accept about the business of being in television is that, yes, the focus should be on what you say, what you know, what you can tell people, but it is a visual medium and there is a certain TV look that you're expected to have. And if I wanted to be successful in that arena, I had to copy that look. And that's why I hired an image consultant just as I was like really making more of a hardcore turn into television. And, I got highlights in my hair for the first time ever and started learning about accessories and started wearing pink and all kinds of things that were a little foreign to me. But, I do feel like if you really want to experience true growth, you have to be somewhat uncomfortable. And it was an interesting learning exercise for me, just from the standpoint of being able to stretch myself. And I know it sounds probably crazy to a lot of women listening, like I don't that don't consider makeup to be stretching yourself, but I never really wore it. And to then suddenly be put in a position where I was getting my face made up every day, it was quite interesting. And oh, by the way, I still don't know anything about makeup. Could not tell you anything about it. And so when even to this day, when a makeup artist asks me what do I want, I'm like, the look you give me. That's the look I want. But but yeah, I mean, it was an interesting transition for me. And what I learned is about how harsh the business can be on women and especially Black women, because the TV look usually does not include us. Okay, that's not what they're talking about, because we aren't checked for the same way that they check for a blonde white woman on television. We just aren't. And knowing that was, in some ways, a little deflating because I'm not going to be blonde and I'm not going to be white. Well, I guess I am blind now. So, but you know what I
Right, right,
mean?
right.
Yes. But, I wasn't, there's a certain mold I just was physically never going to fit. And if my success in TV depended on me fitting that mold, then I was going to be in trouble. And, for a while, especially as I tried to find my footing in television, I really wondered if getting a show was ever really going to happen for me because I did not fit the mold. I mean, I was also, just from a content standpoint, I wasn't a traditional anchor. I was somebody who was used to driving conversations and shows with my opinion. I wasn't the woman who was teeing up dudes to see what they thought about things. I was the dude who got to say what I thought about things, right?
Right.
So it was, I didn't fit the box in any particular way. And it was, to me, very eye opening to see how we were scrutinized and even, just the relationship with viewers is just, yeah, I'll never forget one day I was doing Sports Center and I wore some boots that were knee high and they had, a string on the back where you had to tie them and the string had come loose so you could just see the strings. And this dude um, tweeted me and said that he, that he didn't like my boots and it was unprofessional for me to have them untied. And I'm like, I just did 60 minutes of television, and what you got from that entire experience was my boots were tied, and I'm unprofessional. But that's the sort of thing that women go through when you're on television is that people are nitpicking your hair, your makeup, like everything. They're nitpicking everything except for what's coming out of your mouth.
So, along those lines, because you have created a lane for yourself, I mean, you have launched your own television shows, you are launching careers and giving platforms to other women through the launch of your podcast network. You are writing original series, you and Kelly, through Loge Media. So, you are forging these new ventures and areas for women, especially women that look like us, Black women, women of color. Um, what has that experience been like writing about that and reflecting back on it when you're still in the midst of it? Because it's really, if you think about it, a short time window, but you're actively doing and reflecting on it. How is that sort of as a process and how does that make you feel?
Well, you got the actively doing part right, but I don't think I really reflect on it. Probably not enough. Because that's the thing, in your mind you're always on the grind, you're always hustling, you're always on to the next thing. And one thing I'm happy about having written this book is that it forced me to go back and really appreciate and acknowledge how far I've come, both personally and professionally. And because in my day-to-day life I don't really get an opportunity to do that. But when it comes to the network and other projects I'm involved with, it just has become much more important and vital to me to create situations, opportunities, platforms where Black women are seen and heard and appreciated. And beyond choosing to focus on us, because I am a Black woman, I'm also I also think it's important to amplify Black women because we have such narrow ways that we're seen, and we're complex, and it feels like people are often trying to make us saviors or make us the mule or be we have to be in it for everything else but ourselves. And so I wanted to create content where we're centered first. And it's important to me to leave some kind of legacy for Black women that we can all take a part of, we can all take a part in, and that I can share with them as my tribute and love letter to Black women.
So it is appreciated. In wrapping up, because I know that your schedule is so busy,
Mhm.
and again, thank you for taking time. I want to touch a little bit on love and relationships because you do note that you opted to get married in your 40s, a little bit later than life than most people think about. And you said that part of that was because you were more grounded in yourself. And for women in entertainment, especially, I think going into relationships and dealing with men is a tricky thing. And it's also something else that we are judged for, whether we are single or actively in a relationship, and what type of men we get involved with. So, can you talk to me about the decision to be open about your relationship and letting people into something that is really precious and special? And considering the things that you've been through on social media or whatever, that had to not have been an easy choice to step into that.
It was a choice that was made gradually. And when me and my husband first started dating, I purposely did not tag him in things. It took me a while to put him on my Instagram. And the reason is because when you choose to date somebody who has a public profile, you're also accepting all the things that come along with it. And that means the praise and the negativity as well. And he didn't sign up to be a public figure. At that time, all of his, profiles were like his Instagram profile was locked. Like you had to get permission in order to see his Instagram anyway. So knowing that, I figured he chose that privacy option for a reason. And as we got more serious, then I started to tag him in things because I had to, let him know, well, if this is what you decide to get involved with, just know what you're getting into, all right? Considering some of the hate mail that that I'll get. And, initially I didn't post him or tag him out of protection, honestly, for me. And what I mean by that is that, like, I'm used to people going off on me or criticizing me or having something to say about something I've said, but I'm going to react a lot differently if you say some of those things to people I care about. And, I didn't want to one day lose my job because somebody that said something slick to him and I decided to get in the comment section about it. So it was done, very gradually. And, once we got to that point where it was just a regular part of how we flowed in our relationship, the part I didn't expect or didn't even think about was how it would make other people feel. And I mean that in a good way. Like so many women that are around my age or that have not been married were just like, oh, you give me hope, and I don't feel so bad now that I'm not, because I'm not married. Because I think there's this societal pressure that women face overall, but Black women especially, that if we're not married by a certain age, something's wrong with us, or we're not as desirable after we get a certain age. And so I wanted to show that not only is love still possible, love is still deserved, no matter what age that you are. And um, I never thought about the fact that we could be such a positive influence on people who are either already married in a relationship or looking for something like that, that they would know that it does happen. It happening later in life is just as gratifying as it happening early.